interested in all companies. So, for example, documents. Actually, in Russia, I don't know how in your company and country, in Russia, specialists hate documents because, it's too hard. I don't know why you need this, but I could show you that really documents, it's not only your enemy, could be a helper. And what you could do, you could usually find, if we talk about cybersecurity, you could find some templates and try to teach yourself and teach your another users in these templates. I don't know again how it is it working in your country, but in Russia you have a lot of templates in different organizations. I mean corporations. For example, medicine. Some Minister of Medicine, they sent to all medicine companies special templates. You can use it, but actually everybody, not everybody, nobody knows how to use it because, okay, it's strange words. I don't know what I could do with these documents. And it's only like a form without any mind. What is it? Okay, for example, you could use these documents to help you to explain responsibility to your users. If you use only words, it's not enough. When some user sign some documents that, okay, cybersecurity, do you know some rules and another? So this way to explain what is this and what could do users for helping yourself and corporation. And second step of documents useful thing is you could describe all your structure and what why it's so necessary because again I am, for example, young businesswoman, and first of all I have one administrator of my system, and then he ill and ill again, and then he went away from company, and I need new administrator, but old administrator didn't do some documents and some didn't describe all systems. So I need to have my time with a new admin, try to understand what happened with my system and explain to this new admin. I think, do you know what I mean? And if you have some special documents, it's like a simple plan. You have new admin, you give him your instruction, give some induction, some settings and another, and he could do his work very well and very fast. If you have no these documents, so you could do a lot. You could have a lot of time, maybe 6 months, maybe sometimes 1 year, but your business will be really in some bad situation if you, like a leader, will use only some, token chance. Third, most documents could not be even printed. I mean, you could have some electronic documents, for example, technical describing your details. I mean, Russia, we have a technical aspect. It's a special document that describe all your settings, all your software, all your hardware, and even if you see that, oh, okay, I had one computer I don't know why, but this user use another computer. It's maybe so simple details for understanding, but very important. In different countries, I saw this situation when I was in college. I actually thought about that only in Russia we had such bad situation in, equipment, computers, and another, but no. In different countries, even in USA, Israel, and another, it depends on corporation, organization, and another. You could see this strange situation that, okay, where is RAM in my computer? It must be 8, but right now it's only 2. What happened? And documents could control you. And of course, why I tell you about electronic documents, because technical passport it's very changeable document. And if you will print every time all details, of course, you need a lot of paper. No economy, print, print, print. But such documents like orders, instructions, and some regulations in company must be printed at signed by users because it's important for responsibility when you do some instruction induction for them. You use in the case of documents, you could use another way. For example, take a law and best practice and try to write your own documents. I mean, for example, instruction and regulations. Um, but it's really difficult and you need a lot of time. But with these facts, you will be more, you can get more knowledge about cybersecurity, about law, and you will have such experience that nobody else. It actually my way before when I start in cybersecurity, I got a law and wrote read it a lot of time. And then I saw some details. I knew that all laws had special, specific minds, structure, and another. Now I understand it. And technical details. I know where I could find some best practice in our laws and use it for additional facts for my company. And about documents, it's have a special detail about access control. Right now, I think you use some camera and another, but if you have no camera, for example, again, like I saw in different another organizations, there's no camera. It's again like a template camera, so you need to control who could visit your room where you could save your some special documents with commercial secrets and another who could visit another offices and who could use your computer. You know that a lot of users sometimes, oh, I could use your computer. No, please don't do this because then if something happened with your company, with you, and with your, commercial secrets or maybe personal data of your company and your clients, how you can find who was in this computer, who used it. For this, you need camera or special control, maybe some, locks. Sometimes you could use some special SCUT system control that could write some details about visitors. Um, And about computers, of course, you could use logs that you could set it in your computer, even without specific software. It's only operation system. You could set it, and then you can, if something happened, you can find this information who did it and control access to your resources. Of course, you have websites right now. It's like very popular, and if you have a company and if your company is not in internet, you are not working. So okay, but website who have access to your site? uh, you get you get control, or you send some password and username some people who must help you, but how do you control this work, and how do you control when somebody try to help with some counter software or maybe operation system, or maybe your folder in your network storage. You need control this access. If not, you again will have some troubles with who did it. And if you don't find this person, you will be uh, that bad man in the, for law, for some judgment and another. And what could you do right now? I hope it will be useful for you about settings. I know that nobody have specific software hardware, only serious companies, corporation. What could you do right now? You could set operation system. First of all, you need to use different users with different rights. What I mean in this case, have on device, please set your system in admin user, but create another user for your work, because if you surfing in internet and use admin rights in operation system, and you find some malware and maybe some virus on another, you could put this malware on your system without any if you have if you use admin account. But if you use in without specific admin rights, system will ask you, hey guys, something try to change your system. Could we do this? And this question can save your computer, maybe your reputation and another. So it's a simple case, but please do this. I know that it's not maybe such useful, maybe difficult sometimes, but safety first. I had this safety first a lot of time in my work before. It was like a losing device. Second case, strong password. I know that it's really popular advice, but again, if you uh, do some research, uh, again, password for different resources, 12345 or got 111 or something like this. And if you have difficult passwords, good. But sometimes users use difficult password, but during 6 years and 6 years, and then they use this difficult password in all systems. And you know that there are a lot of hacker sites, special pages, and if your password in only in one system will leaks, so hacker could use your password, and he will do it in other systems. He really check all systems with this difficult password. So please use strong password, and you need to change it maybe one time in 3 months, maybe more often. But you need to use different passwords in different systems, not one password for my personal email and for my computer. It's really bad situation, and I saw a lot such kind of situation. And especially, you know, when we could talk about social networks, yes, the same passwords everywhere. Setting logs, because usually all users don't know about these settings, but please check logs, turn on this additional logs, and you can check what changes in your operation system. I know that difficult for not IT guys, but you could show some IT guys, your friends, or maybe our organizations, organizers, and they could help you with it. And with logs, you could tell another people that yes, it's not me, it's another user, it's a virus. This virus did this. It's not me. Control updates. I saw a lot of again a lot of times that people get updates and then it's too hard for my device. No, I don't want to use it. Updates need for security. Please do it. But if you have a big corporation network, I don't know, maybe somebody work in these great corporations, you please don't use updates and first day when you get it. Need some time to to work to another users, maybe your enemies to check updates how it works. But usually in great corporations use special computer with the same software, with the same operation system to check these updates. And only after that you could use these updates for your important personal computer, working computer, and another. And last, think about operation system, monitor most popular vulnerabilities. A lot of chats in Telegram and maybe in some forum you can find this information. And if you see that okay, I your operation system right now most popular in hackers. So please try to think. Okay, if this operation system is so popular in with hackers, maybe I need to get another less popular but not so useful. It's a hard way, I know, but I must tell you about this. And maybe you need to check updates. Maybe you could work even without some internet connection. Sometimes if you have some really critical uh, process in your company, I think it could be useful for some time, not for, turn off your computer for 1 week and try to see what happened with other people. No, not for a long time, but I think if it so critical, you again could save your network incorporation system, your reputation again, and your computer, of course. Setting antivirus. It was interesting for me, but somebody not using antivirus, it's strange. I mean, it's we have a lot of free antivirus, but if you have even free, please again control updates, weekly check all your computer devices to check if you have some virus. Checking removable USB devices. You could turn off your USB devices with some settings of antivirus. I don't know what do you use. And checking logs again. About database. Again, it's the same. You see the same advices on all small systems in your great systems, corporation system, database. And when I tell you database, it's not only your account base or something like this. It could be like your own forum, maybe portal, maybe website with some additional function, especially financial. And again, please, you set users, different users with different rights, strong passwords, logs, loading, control loading process, because sometimes in loading process, logs of loading process, you could see that some important files of this system could be changed by virus and another, and you can see this in logs. Maybe this advice is a little bit difficult, but you could show your system to organizer again and ask some advices. I think they help you, or maybe you can ask me. And database again, updates, control updates every time. For example, right now in Russia, we have a popular system, and when began some cyber attacks in our resources, this system, it was not so popular, I mean, between hackers. But right now, all hackers know, all hackers attacks, and all hackers check what they could do else. And if in this system update was maybe one time a year, right now it's like a one time 3 days. And please check and control it, and vulnerabilities of course too. And one more settings about mail. A lot of people forgot about mail, it need to control. In corporation security, I usually use some special programs for control mail, not about users to, oh, what my user do right now, he must work, but no. You need check mail sometime for phishing. Maybe you could see that, oh, before I have less spam, right now I know, don't know, maybe 100 a day. It's interesting because it means that your mail could be in some special base that was sold out to hackers and another groups, and you need additional control, additional defense for this. But right now, you what could you do? Passwords, again, strong passwords, different from your another system. Inductions for users, control devices. If you use, for example, Gmail, like a corporation mail, it's possible. You could see what devices used by users and check. Oh, okay, we can block these devices and use only work for working mail, and so you will have a less risk, much less risk. Sorry for this game of rocks. And check logs again. I had not only corporation experience, but Sometimes people ask me about mail. How could I do? I think that somebody reading my mail, and actually, when we check it, yes, we check the logs. We check what devices use this mail, and yes, we could see that. Oh, okay, it your past uh, girl or maybe another. Usually it's like a, personal thing, but it could be hacker really. And last step about settings, even what could you do right now without any money, additional money? You need to set your routers. Um, a lot of companies use old router. It's really bad idea. Please buy new routers with new uh, settings and additional functions. You need to separate your working net from your not so important computers. I know that a lot of people still use some critical computers in the same network with usual computers. For example, okay, secretary, we and counter again, counter with the finance. I think you understand that if somebody want to hack your counter, it will be with big money, big troubles and another. So separate your working computers from not such important. Separate your working Wi-Fi from guest Wi-Fi. It's very important because in my experience, we had interesting situation with medicine again when medicine companies use guest Wi-Fi, and in this guest Wi-Fi, we can find servers with some photo before, before and after operations. And of course, it's a critical situation for reputation. For routers again, use a strong password for Wi-Fi and for account of admin. Separate some rights. If you have a few administrator, please use different logs because IT not all time good guy. It could be I don't know, maybe your enemy IT favorite guy. If you if you understand about what I explain you. It could be bad man with bad minds about your company. Maybe he wants that your company didn't do anything in the market and another. So routers is a simple thing that could use even beginner, not hard hacker. Watch your route, watching logs again. In router, yes, you have logs too, and you could see what happened, why you have some mistakes in some work in these routers. Control updates again, monitoring vulnerabilities, and block strange traffic. It's very important, like internal and external. For example, only operation system and few software in each computer, usually they generate additional the same traffic every day. Maybe a little bit more, maybe less, but the same in characters. I mean, port and uh, a number. So if you understand this block, you uh, have a rules for this traffic. For example, only this traffic could work in my network, and another will block it. Very important for stable work your company. And settings and documents, I told you about this. And third symbol of cybersecurity in corporation, users. You need talk with your users every maybe 1 month. If I mean it's a great corporation, but even if you have a small corporation, you need to do induction for your users maybe one time for 2 months. But right now, so a lot of news about hackers, about cyber attacks, about some troubles in different systems. You need to explain your users what happened, because if you have even the best defense of this year, the best documents and controlling system and another, but your users is really weak in this system of cybersecurity, if they didn't understand why do you do this, why I need to be sure, why I need have this difficult password. It's so difficult for me. I have no mind why doing this. I need to understand. No, you need to talk with your users, and because if your users don't understand these details, why it's important, so you could throw out your documents, you could throw out your hardware and software, because your users will solve you information, will think that oh, nothing happened. So what you could do, you could have inductions for users and checking knowledge, and use some testing cases. For example, for some corporation system, we use phishing test. It's like a oh, please mute somebody. Um, could you mute? Um, testing cases. I said that yes. For example, our company we use for corporation some specific phishing test. What I mean, we do in laboratory, virtual laboratory, special services that could be like a phishing, and send these phishing mails and could see what in this corporation users do with this later, and you could see if your induction was useful or not, and what do you need to change. And if you can do this, if you don't understand for yourself what is the cybersecurity, but you have a money, please buy some each year trainings for your users. Especially it's important for security officers and your IT guys if you have these employees in your organization. Because if information is not actual, why are you low money for this? So I hope it was useful. It actually all information. It's 3 simple steps, but I hope it will be useful. I sent presentation materials for Jefferson, and maybe he send you this material. Thank you.
So I'm going to be picking back off of what she just described with regards to security. I'm going to talk more about personal security, personal cybersecurity. Basically, it entails about how self-aware you are. You have to be self-aware to protect and prevent yourself from being hacked. When it comes to personal security, you have to also understand, your digital identity, and you have to make sure you know the nature of your digital identity to operate in that space. When I talk about digital identity, we're talking about things like what is your device name? What are you connecting to? What accounts are you using, to connect to a particular platform? And those are the basic, knowledge you have to be aware of. What am I doing? What's the purpose of my device connecting? And what kind of data or information am I trying to access? And in doing that, what are the pitfalls? Can my system be hacked? And can my network be hacked? So we're going to focus more on that personal devices. We've talked about, password extensively using strong passwords. But for you to be more secure, you need more than just, using your password to communicate. You need to have something like, if possible, a two-factor. You have to be able to ensure that most of the time when you communicate and you have to exchange your login information, you want to make sure it's two-factor. You want to make sure there's another way that you can verify that it's you, either by, another email that confirms, or PIN, whatever, or text message to your phone that, actually tells the platform you're connecting with that, yes, this is you. 90% of the time, most people get hacked because, I'll use the word, they're trying to get something free. You get an exchange, someone sends you an email with an attachment, and you just basically click on that attachment because, you're going to get a price or whatever. The key thing is to ensure that when you get an email, you verify the link. You verify the source to make sure that the source of the email you're aware of. And if you're not aware of that source, you don't want to just, click and install whatever application. That way you can get a malware or Trojan, into in your system. And you want to also avoid using like jailbroken phones, because most of the people that write those codes, for your iOS or your, Apple, Android, they also have a backdoor. So when you use a jailbroken device, you've already introduced yourself to that, backdoor into your, system. So you want to really make sure you have all the tools to protect your, health, PHI, protected health information, your PCI, your credit card and all that information. You want to, if you have a multiple sites that you access and you have multiple passwords that you use, you want to make sure that you store them not on your phone or on a system that is actually like, protected, encrypted. So if someone by hacks your system, gets your phone, that information to, that contains all your passwords, your user information is protected and encrypted. And you are the only one that can decrypt, that particular folder or that particular information store. The other key thing is most of the time, everybody now uses, Wi-Fi to connect. You even when you're at home, you use Wi-Fi to connect to your work environment. You use Wi-Fi to do every kind of transaction you do. So you have all these devices at home. These devices at home, your Wi-Fi routers and your switches, whatever it is. You want to ensure that one, the access for that transport of your data is secured. How? If you're using, low-key encryption like WEP for Wi-Fi access, you want to make sure if you're the admin of your own Wi-Fi providing infrastructure, you want to make sure that it's, a stronger encryption algorithm that is used, like, WPA, WPA2, or WPA3. You want to make sure that those kind of pins you're using is not shared. It's stored somewhere. You don't want to maybe put the pin on the device and then anybody that sees it. So you have to be self-aware to protect your data. And then you have to make sure that when you have like guests coming into your place, you can create a guest access so that, because think about it, your local area network is accessible to everybody on that local area network. So if you don't have any other kind of security, on your devices and someone connects to that same local area network, then they can transact, business between your computers and theirs. So someone can actually sit outside of your house and has your access to your Wi-Fi information. They connect to your Wi-Fi from the outside, you're not even aware, and then they connect into your system. So two things you have to do from that particular perspective. Make sure that, you secure your Wi-Fi to ensure that only you or anybody that you've allowed has access to it. And then you want to block off anybody else that, shouldn't. And going on that Wi-Fi, you think about, you go to airports, you travel a lot, you go to places, you go to a restaurant, you go out, you see, free Wi-Fi, and then you use it, and then you connect. What happens in those scenarios is you have someone that is, providing you that Wi-Fi, that your traffic or your data has to go through their infrastructure. They can set up a couple of, spans to just, span everything that you're doing. So they copy it. You think everything is working, you're fine, but every information, can just be captured by putting that man in the middle. So that's why it's important to make sure that if you're going to, use free Wi-Fi, make sure that you have a VPN, that you're connecting with. That way, your data is encrypted. So when it comes to cybersecurity, like, we talked about, the 90% of the time is about you being self-aware, you being, being in the position to protect yourself, to ensure that, you think before you use a system, you think before you, transact, any kind of, information, especially when it's, secret information or personal information, over the web. You want to make sure that the systems that you're using to do these transactions are also, secure. You want to make sure that you have, like automatic updates set up, so that because these codes that are written, no matter for what device, whether it's an Apple device, Android device, Windows, Mac, there's a reason why these updates come out. These updates come out because most of the time, they're hackers working effectively to bypass this platform or operating system security. So you would see information released with regards to updates, patch your systems, download the latest, iOS updates, Android updates, Mac updates, Windows updates. That's because they are security flaws that gets exposed from time to time. And if you are not patching, let's say you have a software update that was like 5 years ago or 2 years ago, that means you're vulnerable to any of the attacks that's happened or that can happen between the time that you last patched your system and at that time. So the key to protect yourself from malicious attacks on a personal device is to ensure that, one, you don't just surf, you want to do safe search when you're doing any kind of web transaction. You want to do HTTPS if you're doing like banking transaction, PHI transaction to, your health provider. Anything that would contain, your personal information that you don't want anybody to see apart from the person you're doing that transaction with. You want to make sure it's encrypted, using HTTPS transactions and all that. You want to make sure that when you're in a public environment and you want to use, a free or, public Wi-Fi, you want to make sure you're using a VPN software to encrypt your data from your endpoint to wherever you're, delivering that data to. And automatic updates, don't use free systems like, jailbroken, devices, because those vulnerabilities exist in those systems. And that's basically it. Be very, very self-aware. If someone sends you an email and you don't know who the source is, even when you know who the source is, you want to make sure that you don't just install. You want to make sure you scan. So you want to have these antivirus softwares running on your systems. You want to make sure you scan that, executable before, you install, to make sure it's, it's safe. And if you have kids, you want to make sure that maybe on your kids' systems, you don't give them the admin rights to install, because you want to just provide your systems to your kids, just give them the admin rights so that they don't install a software that you are not aware of or you have not deemed secure. And so those are the key areas you have to focus on when it comes to personal security. One, how is my network set up? My local area network or the network I'm connecting through. Is it safe? Is it secured? What device am I using? Does it have the most current, up-to-date software? Does it have the most current, up-to-date patch? And what kind of rights does anybody have to install anything on this system? Those are some of the things. So when you use Apple or Android or Windows, you want to make sure that before someone can install that software, they ask for another layer of permission. It's not just, click on this, download, install. There's a permission that you could set up that would allow them to, okay, even if someone, assuming, hacks your system, they cannot install a malware because it needs another layer, of permission to do that kind of thing. And that's it. That's, how you protect yourself. You have to be very, very self-aware. You have to know your digital, information you're passing, your devices, how they work, how your devices are deemed to be secured or not. And then you can better secure yourself. It's basically being self-aware, making sure you apply those automatic updates, and making sure that even when you apply those updates, you're getting it from a trusted system or trusted provider. So you just don't install any free antivirus software, for instance. It might be doing more harm than good. You just don't connect to any network. You can be doing more harm than good. So by being aware of how you're using your systems, how your systems are updated, who has access to install software or any kind of thing on your system, gives you that line of defense. And then other things with regards to the devices that you use for those kind of transport, you want to make sure that you're regularly updating, the firmware for your routers, your switches, and things like that, your access points. You're constantly, refreshing the updates to make sure that they're up to date, because malicious attacks happen every day. And you will have one point in time, if you're not careful, be hacked. The key thing is, if you have a personal device, a Wi-Fi device, you protect anything coming from outbound in. What does that mean? Nobody can just connect to your network. You want to make sure that all your sessions are initialized from inside going out. That way you limit the possibility of anybody just doing a scan randomly trying to hack you, because that traffic is going to be ingressing your network from somewhere on the internet. But as long as you have those kind of protections, on your personal devices at home, nothing comes in unless you've explicitly authorized it. You allow things going out, you don't allow anything coming back in. You have the most current antivirus, you have something that scans for malwares on your systems, like McAfee, a host of other, antivirus softwares out there, Windows security. All those things would help you, to protect your systems against malicious attacks. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Adeyeye, for that insightful session. And of course, thank you to our first speaker, she's not here anymore. I believe it's been a very, very interesting one. And we've learned one or two new things, especially in the world of cybersecurity, as far as cybersecurity awareness is concerned. So I don't know if there are any questions at this time. I was going to mention earlier on that we could just type our questions in the comment section. So if you have any questions, you could just do that quickly, or you could just raise a hand so I could call you to speak. So Mr. Adeyeye can take your question at this point. Okay, I don't know. Okay, Jefferson, you have access to share your screen. I just saw your message now. You requested for access. You are co-host, so yes, you can share your screen, please.
Okay, good evening. So while we're waiting for questions, let me just add a thing or two to what the first speaker actually spoke about, which was organization security. And I would just add a thing or two on organization security. I don't know, is my screen visible?
I can't see it at the moment.
Okay, 1 second. Let's see. Share screen. Host only. Okay. I don't know why is it visible yet?
Okay, it's not still okay. What I just made you host then. Maybe you want to try
Okay.
it then. If you can work, you were co-host before now.
Let's see. Okay, desktop screen share. Microsoft PowerPoint. 1 second.
Or if you're having any trouble sharing, maybe you could just send it to me and I'll share here. Is that okay?
Okay, I can send that to you on WhatsApp now. Let me just
please.
send you.
Okay.
So I'll send you the documents so you help me share. Okay, sense information. Done. Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yes, I have it now. Just give me a second. I'm opening it now. Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. Please confirm if it's visible now.
It's visible.
All right, great.
Okay, so still on organization securities, I'm just going, like what our first speaker spoke about, I'm just going to be talking about a few documents which I think every organization should have. Cybersecurity documents, irrespective of the size of your organization. There are some kind of certain documents which is important for every organization. So I decided to make this presentation so we can make screenshot and say for those of us that have organizations, business corporations, be it startup or not, or we are planning to be of help to. So I'll get right into it. Second slide, please. Information security policy, that's the first. An organization policy is a pillar of cybersecurity defense documentation. It contains the company's rules and the guidelines to ensure employees adhere to created protocol and procedures to minimize any security. This protocol may include safeguarding any corporate information, IT assets, security strategy, and other preventative measures. Let me just quickly explain more about this. Our first class spoke about espionage, if I'm not mistaken, when she talked about internal attackers, people coming into your company and stealing information from within. When there are information security policies like this, it helps you mitigate things like this, and it's be easy for you to take such cases where or take actions in a situation where an employee has defaulted in the lay down policies. Next slide. Business continuation plan. What's business continuation plan? It's simply known as BCP. It's the details of procedures and process an organization must take continue operations in event of an emergency due to a wide and evolving range of threats it varies, like which our speakers have spoken about, from personal and organization. Organization must regularly update these documents because the world of cybersecurity, there are things that go on every day. The more technology we have, the more cyber threats we have every day. It's something that, so it needs to be constantly updated. Each BCP is unique and must be coordinated with business objective. Simply means my company BCP may necessarily not work for your company based on the objective and the activities of our company are different. So everybody needs to narrow down the BCPs with the objectives of the company. Security measures and likely emergency. This way it can restore essential business operations, ensuring continuity and minimize damage. So even when there are events of attack and stuff like that, by the time you have this continuity plan, it's not like a backup plan for your business when there are glitches or cyber attack. And then slide 4, please. Disaster recovery plan. Conjunction with business continuation plan, they describe the specific steps needed to resume business operation after an event, whether it's power outage, cyber attack, pandemic, natural disaster, or anything else. Disaster recovery plan includes response manager and protocol around testing, whether it involves drills or orchestrated tests. This also helps monitor and update information as business changes. It's critical that business update their disaster recovery plan and systematic basis. I hope this is clear. It's quite self-explanatory, but while I'm going on, if there is any section that we do not understand, we can easily drop our questions on the comment section, which we've taken attended to after this. So next slide, please. Security awareness training. Now, security awareness training exists because human error is responsible for many of the successful data breach. Security learning program or awareness training should teach employees to avoid attacks, targeted attacks like phishing. If you look at the statistics of cybersecurity attack, if I'm not mistaken, phishing is the highest form of cybersecurity breach. Why? Because most people do not have adequate knowledge on how to counter phishing attack. And what's phishing? Phishing simply means disguising as a known or trusted source, sending a link from a known or trusted source in order to convince the target to click such links, be it an SMS, be it an email, be it a video link, whatsoever. It's just disguising as a trusted source. So once the person goes there, you can start stealing information, depending on the kind of information that the attacker is planning to steal. So by the time you've created security awareness training in your organizations, it minimizes risks of situations like this. This training should occur regularly. As cybersecurity attack evolves, so must employees understand. So must employee understanding of how to identify them. Training should also involve interactive learning to keep employees engaged. Like the first speaker spoke, she said from time to time, and every organization should have internal meeting between the administrator, the CEO. These meetings are very important. It's part of security training, awareness training. Can we go to the next slide, please? Incident and response policy. An incident response (IR) plan is similar to disaster recovery plan, and that it specifies the role and responsibility in the event of disruption. However, incident response plan focuses more on IT and security occurrence. If I would explain this better, but let me quickly read through. In an IR plan, it is a priority to reduce any damage caused by data breach. This includes the business operation, financial losses, or customer data. An IR plan also monitors and updates security information as the digital landscape evolves and cybersecurity become more frequent and advanced. Like the name sound, incident response plan. Once there is an incident, what are the response plan you have in place in order to mitigate these things, to ensure that these things have been solved quickly? Because an incident means you did not mitigate, so it has happened. Now, how do you intend to resolve? There should be plans down that have been documented for your organization on how to go about things like this, so it doesn't disrupt business flow and stuff like that. Next slide, please. Risk assessment and risk assessment standard and procedure. Risk assessment standard and procedure contains the process of identifying, analyzing, and evaluating any cyber risk. This type of documentation is critical for preventing data loss, avoiding data breaches, and saving money, meeting compliance, and gaining knowledge for future assessments. So most of these things are quite explanatory, but like I said, if you have any questions while I'm rushing through this, we could just put them in the comments section. So I would attend to them myself, and Mr. Wale can attend to your questions if there are any questions. Next one, please. Change management policies. The purpose of this policy is to manage changes in a well-communicated, planned, and predicted manner, and minimize unplanned outages and unplanned system issues. This document explains how any changes can avoid impacting business operation. Now, every organization should have management policies on how you manage it, but there should also be a document that would direct or guide the organization on how they change these policies from time to time. Because you cannot just change policies, it's an organization, so everything has been planned. By the time you just change policies without having change management policies on how those things go, they might disrupt operations. So that's why you also need to have a change management policies that help you go about how you handle things like that in a situation or in an event you need to update your company policy. The next one. Next slide, please. Data backup policies. It's quite simple, as even without owning a company, everybody, individual that access the internet and use the technology, should have a backup plan. Data backup policy is an action plan that outlines the guidance in case of a data loss, deleted or corrupted file, or other cybersecurity events. This includes implementing strategies on how to restore important documents and how to resume business services after an emergency has occurred. It also details the type of backup needed to best serve your organization. And last but not the least, remote access policies. What is remote access policy? This policy includes information. These policies include information about storing devices securely or following bring your own device. Let me quickly explain this. After the COVID-19, 2020 to 2023 COVID-19, most organizations went on remote working. And now, if you don't have good remote access policies, it would have been very difficult or almost impossible to integrate from in-person working, in-person learning to remote access, remote learning, remote working and stuff like that. That's why you need a good remote access policy. Considering the fact that the world today, if you go online to look for jobs, most of the jobs you see are either hybrid, remote, or in-person, and majority of them today are hybrid. So most organizations are switching to hybrid working, which involves coming to work sometimes and doing it online. So if we don't have proper policies, it will be very difficult for you to implement stuff like that, and makes your company very prone to attack from external attackers. So it must also provide details information about unauthorized apps, which your company staffs are allowed to access the company server from. It should also provide the best practices on maintaining strong password. Both speakers are spoken on password, using multi-factor authentication, which they've spoken about, accessing third-party service, and following basic email security regulations, which has also been spoken about. Talking about details on which kind of device can be used. I think if we look at the US today, look at US, look at China, and not China, sorry, look at US, look at UK, they recently did something, they banned TikTok on official phones of officials. So if you're working in the government, you're not allowed to use TikTok, you're not allowed to use some certain kind of app. You're not allowed to use some certain kind of apps. That it's part of remote access.
Hello, Jefferson.
Okay.
Okay, great. You're back.
My network. So as I was saying, if you look at some countries today, they had to place ban on some certain kind of applications from government officials using some certain kind of. Even in Russia today, they actually placed a ban on government officials making use of iPhones. These are remote access policy because what's the name? TikTok they believe it's controlled by China, which steals information, personal data, and sends back to China. And how is this done? It's not done physically, it's done remotely. So that's why every organization, government, even as an individual there, you need to have some of those policies. But as an individual, you may not actually draw up documentations, the other ways of protecting yourself, as I've spoken about. But every organization should have a minimum of this documented policies available. Thank you. And now I'm ready to take any questions if you have any questions.
All right, thank you very much for that time, Jefferson. If you have any questions, please, you might want to type it in the comment section or just raise your hand so we could call on you too. Okay, I have a question here. Let me, from Olabode Emmanuel. The question says, in a situation whereby an attacker creates a clone of a site and the URL is physically correct in the sense that there is a letter change, we have several A's in the alphabet. How do we detect this? All right, any one of you, either you, Jefferson, or Mr. Adeyeye could answer?
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right, thank you, Mr.
The key thing for those kind of is to make sure you verify the URL and then to make sure that, it's not like an HTTP, it's an HTTPS, which attaches a certificate. So you cannot clone a certificate that you're using to connect. So as long as the certificate, which basically acts as a cookie, is secured when you go to your left side of you can verify the site on your browser. You just want to make sure that that is a secured certificate that you're connecting with. And that's how you can, bypass that kind of phishing attack, by making sure that the certificate is issued by the company you're trying to connect to.
All right, thank you very much for that response, Mr. Adeyeye. I hope that answers your question, Olabode Emmanuel. If it does, you could just maybe say yes, type yes in the comment section.
Yeah, I did.
All right, thank you. All right, that's great. Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions? Or perhaps you may want to add to what Mr. Adeyeye said, Jefferson?
Okay, in addition to what Mr. Adeyeye said, concerning phishing, I think if it serves me correctly, sometimes when we receive email that doesn't seem that we feel skeptic about. In fact, generally, when you receive an email from any organization with a link attached to it, it's always advisable not to click the link if possible, and go to your normal browser and go to the original link which you know. If you do not know the original link, you could also always use Google search, because Google search most times will always bring out the according to their verification, how trusted they are. That's what you see first on Google. You will not see a clone phishing site appear first on your Google page. And
Right.
sorry, most organizations have mitigation processes on this, like Facebook, big organizations, they are bought domains, so that in a situation where you make mistake, let's say you want to go to facebook.com and you wrote FaceBK or Facebook, instead of BOK, you wrote facebok.com, it automatically redirects you to the original Facebook site. These are some of the things that big organizations have done. And as a growing organization or a medium-sized organization, it's also advisable to do things like this, so that it becomes difficult for an attacker to just clone your site or pick out an error with spelled alphabet to create a phishing site.
All right, thank you very much for that, Jefferson. Do we have any other questions? Comments? Okay, Florence, are you trying to speak? Ask a question. Okay, I assume that's not intentional. All right, in the absence of any other questions, would like to appreciate every one of us for taking time to join this webinar. We trust you've learned a couple of things that you would like to be put into practice, both in your personal data security and your organizational security. The speakers are definitely available at any time if you want to. If you still have questions, maybe after now, you could always reach out to Jefferson, and of course, you get responses to your answers. We appreciate you for taking time. Thank you to all the speakers today, and we wish you a very good evening. Jefferson, I'll call on you again as the host if there's any other thing you want to add before we call it a night.
Okay, so I want to appreciate everybody for taking out the time. If you need this short presentation I made, I could send it to you. I also have another presentation on cybersecurity in general, which I think might be helpful. So if you need any of these, or you have any questions like the anchor has said, feel free to reach out to me anytime, any day. I'm always here to assist you anywhere I can.
All right. Thank you very much, Jefferson. And thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Good night, and thank you, everybody.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Wait, Jeff.
Elvis.
Wait, you know they give vote of thanks.
To who I won't give vote of thanks to? The presidents know they're available, you know, join. I really they want make I give vote of thanks to you.
Jeff. Jeff. Don't worry, I'll call you. It's a sound.
So this video playing talking about
I never even knew that you were here. It's when you called me, that's when I just saw you, sir.
Wow. Well done, sir. How's everything? I hope you are good.
Very good, bro. Yes, I'm fine. I'm good.
Good to connect with you again. You don't message, don't do anything. You don't do anything.
My brother, I am so sorry. Everybody has been on live, but we are still connected. We are one.
Okay. Well done. I studied now. You are done night now.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir.
Wow.
All right then.
Yeah,
we'll talk later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll talk. Yeah.
All
Bye.
right, yeah. Bye, sir.
Mr. J. Great work.
Thank you very much. Even if you came late, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I actually came. I'm so sorry for that. I'm so sorry. I just checked my phone. I said, oh wow, so the meeting was scheduled by 6:30. I know. Yeah,
No
that's great. So
problem. We'll talk later now. You can always reach out to me anytime, as usual.
all right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Please, thank you, Shalom. I really do appreciate all of you.